Hey, Shalom and Barakatham. Peace and blessings to you, believing brothers and sisters. This is the Brother Sagalah, back with a lesson all through the Spirit. And this on the screen here is the premise of the lesson. And it's coming from this article that you see here from the whitehouse.gov. And it's a fact sheet going into the Genius Act. So these are just my thoughts on the Genius Act. I've had this information for a while. And just been looking into more things concerning the Genius Act. And as we know, the Genius Act, when you look it up, it's a part of the evolution of the mark of the beast, the mark of Esau, right? Esau's pushing this to the world, which is all prophecy. So the Genius Act, which is short for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for the United States. This is what this is about. Now, Donald Trump, the president of Babylon of America, he just signed this into law. And this went through both houses of Congress, so this is law. It says making America the leader in digital assets. And we know those digital assets, all roads lead to Rome, to the chip. All of this is really chip news. And this is the evolution of the mark, because this has been an ongoing process. This is making America the leader in digital assets. Today, President Donald J. Trump signed the Genius Act into law, a historic piece of legislation that will pave the way for the United States to lead the global digital currency revolution. So this is a push to be the leader, the global leader of digital currency evolution. Now, this made me think of the word. It says, let me go back here. To be the global digital currency revolution, to lead the global digital currency revolution. That's the point here before we continue to keep reading. So the global digital currency revolution, it's the word revolution here. And then it goes into things that revolve, right? Things that spin. And then when you go further down here, it goes into further of what the word revolution means. Like the Revolutionary War, the Spanish or the French Revolution. These sorts of things that go on all around the world. So revolution also means the sense of an instance of great change in affairs. Is recorded from mid-15th century. The political meaning to overthrow, it says the overthrow of an established political or social system. So when there's an overthrow of one system and there's a bringing in of a new system, and that's what's going on with the money system. There's being a overthrow or a overtaking of the paper system of money and turning it into digital. That's what the CBDC we know, which is all a part of this evolution, the evolution of the chip. So the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, is a big part of that, which is the Genius Act now is pushing that forward even more. So that's what this is. So this is a revolution, great change in affairs, once again, an overthrow of an established political or social system. So there's a change being made with the money system and with the system of governance that's coming from what has been here now. So as we continue to read, it says the Genius Act prioritizes consumer protection, strengthens the U.S. dollar's reserve currency status. And that's what they want. They want the dollar to remain the world's reserve currency. But those that are following this know that the BRICS alliance, right, which is short for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and dozens of more nations have come together to start to build a currency that's going to be backed by gold, which the dollar is not and has not been since the 1970s. So that's not going to happen. America's status as the world's reserve currency is hanging on by a thread. That's almost done. Continuing on, the Genius Act will make America the undisputed leader in digital assets, bringing massive investment and innovation to America. So that's what the push is. The push is to make it the leader in digital assets. The leader, and this is all prophecy, as we know. We'll touch on that. So what we're seeing here with the Genius Act and it's a lot more information, but I got kind of what I wanted, is that this is a highway for the RFID microchip, or the mark of the beast in the Bible. This is the highway to getting there. And we've been on that journey, and now we're getting closer and closer, to the inevitability of the chip being made mandatory, which is what we're going to speak on. So other than Babylon being destroyed and the elect being delivered by Yahweh Shah, who's coming back to wage war on the earth, this is the most important prophecy that's left. So the Genius Act is a major red flag, a major sign to the believers that our redemption draweth nigh. Our time here is almost done, because things are picking up. Things are moving quickly, even faster. Now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So there you go. So let's jump into a few scriptures. And I didn't want to make this too long of a lesson. So the Most High, is making the wicked fulfill this prophecy. Let's start with that. The Most High, all this is happening by the will of the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh. The Most High is making the wicked fulfill prophecy, which is why they're pushing this. Because if that wasn't the case, then they would be going against the things that the scriptures say that the wicked would be doing in the last days. That's why they're pushing to be the leader, the innovative leader in digital assets, the global digital, revolution, as we spoke about, is being pushed by Esau, by the beast system, the man of sin. Now here in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it says events prior to the Lord's second coming, the coming of Yahweh Shah, the man of lawlessness. And that's why he's pushing to be the leader in digital assets. So the man of lawlessness is being known who he is, as well as when we read in this chapter here. He's being shown for being the man of sin, the man of lawlessness. That's Esau, Edom, right? The so-called white man in European today. That's what he goes by. Now, not to get the whole thing, but just to get to the point, this is speaking about the man of lawlessness. It says 2 Thessalonians 2:4. It says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. So he sits in a seat, on the earth of rulership. So he thinks that he's God because he sits in a seat of rulership on the earth. So that has went to his head, and he believes that he's actually God, or the Most High, because of the power that he's amassed on the earth through his technology and science, his pseudoscience, right, and military prowess. Now, this is furthermore on him. Isaiah 14, the man of lawlessness. Isaiah 14 and verse 13, it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, this is what the Edomites have said, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So he's ruling here in North America. And he has went into the heavens, as we read in the book of Obadiah. He's went into the heavens. Let's just get that. So this is all showing that the man of sin, what will be going on concerning the man of sin here in the last days. Obadiah 1 and verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, speaking of the Edomites, the Caucasians, right, which is short for cave dweller, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the pride that Esau has. He speaks boastfully. Obadiah 1 and 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, the symbol of America, and of many other Edomite cultures, that symbol is being used. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh. So the Most High is still going to bring Esau down, although he has this power, because what we're about to read here in a second is the Most High gave this power to the man of sin to fulfill prophecy. That's the reason why he's amassed this power on the earth. That's the reason why Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Isaiah 14 and 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne, it says, above the stars of God. Speaking of the children of Israel, I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So Esau believes in his heart that he's truly God. That's why you had this guy Elon Musk a few months ago that said soon there will be a digital God. If you go and look up Elon Musk digital God, it explains that. There's countless videos and information on him saying that there will be a digital God. He believes that that's through his technology. 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 4, who opposeth and exalt himself above all that is called God. So that's speaking of Esau, Edom, right? Who thinks that he is the Most High, or that is worship, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So when we unpack all this, it says he opposed and exalt himself above all that is called the Most High or God, or that is worship, because he's seeking to be worshipped by all the inhabitants of the earth by making them take the RFID chip, the microchip, which is the mark of the beast in the scriptures, which we'll get to in Revelation 13 here in a second. So he's seeking to be exalted above all people, above all things, even above the Most High. He believes that he's going to accomplish this, but the Most High is not going to allow him to do it, although he's allowing him to fulfill the portion of prophecy that's been prophesied that he would actually attempt to do. So it says he sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is the Most High. So when the chip goes into a lot of the inhabitants of the earth, it's not the believers, the elect are not going to take the chip. Now, there's going to be people that might not be of the elect, meaning those that's going to get beamed up on the chariots and be given salvation. There's going to be people that might not be of the elect that's still going to fight against the chip because they know that it's the mark of the beast. Whereas people like to call it the MOTB. I'll just say it straight, right? So there's going to be people that's going to be against it that might not be of the elect, but the elect 100% are not going to take it. When you read in Revelation, the 14th chapter, it says they're not going to take the mark because the Spirit of the Lord is going to be with the believers. Now, let's continue on. Let's go down to the point. Verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, meaning who the wicked is. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And that's the point. So the Most High is letting him, the man of lawlessness, do the things he's doing just so he can bring judgment on him. Now let's read that in the NLT, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7. For this lawlessness is already at work secretly, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. That's right. So the Most High is holding everything, is holding everything back through the angels so that each individual prophecy will happen in its appointed time, as it says in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Right? The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. And it's speaking now, and it's not lying, meaning it's coming to fruition. It's actually coming to pass. We're witnessing it come to pass. Now, it goes on to say, verse 8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the outer one or the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which are the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So Yahushua coming is going to be the end of the plans of the wicked, all of his plots, his schemes, his wickedness. So the Most High, as it said in verse 7 in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, right? Only he who now letteth will let till he be taken out of the way, meaning the Most High is the one that is allowing him to do this. He's not doing it by his own power, although he believes he's God. Let's show that. He believes he is the Most High. This is Proverbs 21 and 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Most High is controlling everything that's going on concerning all the affairs that's on the planet. So the kings, the rulers of the earth, hearts, their minds is in the hand of the Most High. There's that old, song that we all remember growing up. He got the whole world in his hands. Well, the Most High is controlling everything. Here on the earth, the vantage point of people on the earth, they believe that everything is happening by the will of men, which ultimately, is all by the will of the Most High, who puts it in the mind of men to do the things that they're doing. And he uses the angels to do that when you read in the scriptures. Proverbs 15 and verse 3 and many other scriptures speak about how the Most High uses the angels to control everything. There's angels that's holding back the destruction in Revelation 7. Scriptures speak about there's angels at the great river Euphrates, and there's guardian angels. There's, the left-hand side angels and the right-hand side, the righteous and the wicked. So you got angels doing all these things. The Most High says he sends evil angels among people. So that's how everything's getting done. That's by the will of the Most High. Let's continue to show that. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers. The watchers are the men of the Lord, the men that have been sent to the watchtowers to actually go and report and speak the words of the Most High, to speak prophecy, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know. The only ones that's living right now are the elect that have awakened to the truth. Those are the ones that's truly living. It says, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So the Most High God rules here in the earth, not just in the heavens. He rules everywhere. So the things that go on the earth, the Most High knows every detail, and he's controlling everything that goes on. To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So the believers know that the Most High is ruling here on the earth, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of man. And he set up the base man of the earth, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He set him up to rule, right? Because the king's heart is in his hands. This is what the Most High want done. So he's controlling that, making that happen. Now let's go to Revelation 13 and get a few more precepts, and then we'll close it down. Just my thoughts on the Genius Act, right? The evolution of the Esau's mark, the mark of the beast. This is Revelation 13. All this is good, but I just want to get to the point. Revelation 13, and I'll start at 13. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And this is speaking of what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is a part of prophecy. So that was Esau bringing great fear to the earth, which, showed in the movie Oppenheimer. It was said that Oppenheimer said that I've become a destroyer of worlds. Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. So all the things that Esau has done, even to this time, is done nothing but push forward his technology, his scientific advances. So all this cutting edge technology and science has made people actually believe in him over the Most High God. That's why it says he sit in the seat of the Most High, acting as if he is the Most High. Revelation 13 and 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Today, the miracles goes into pseudoscience. So that would be the technology, the science. That's how people are deceived, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. The Most High gave him the power to set up this system, this beast system, which the mark is going to be the RFID chip. That's who's going to be tagged with being actually the followers of the anti-Hamashiach, or in the Bible known as the Antichrist. Just saying it in the Hebrew, the anti-Hamashiach, right? So those, that would be a tag on the believers. That chip is going to be implemented, put inside of their skin, which I'm going to post that on the thumbnail. Continuing on, it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. So this is his system of living. So the people on the earth, he's looking to convert everyone to this fourth industrial revolution, this new way of life, this revolution, this global digital revolution. It says, and should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So this is the revived Roman Empire, as it's known. Also Rome 2.0. So these are just the Edomites coming back in this time, ruling in this time. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. The Most High, we read in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, gave him this power, right? The Most High God Yahweh to fulfill prophecy. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. It says, and that the image of the beast should both speak, meaning it would come to pass. At the end, it was speaking not loud. Let me just get that. So when it says so that it will speak, this is, metaphoric, but it's in the scriptures giving us understanding of what it means when something speaks. Habakkuk 2. Now let's start at Habakkuk. Some pronounce it Habakkuk 2 and 2. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. The visions are the prophecies. So the prophets wrote the visions, and then the clarity is being given to the men of the Lord in these last days to be able to decipher or to be able to prophesy and make The prophecy is clear through the knowledge of the truth, through the Holy Spirit. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it, so that we may carry this message, as it says in the NLT, to others, to other believers, basically, to others who can receive it. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision, the prophecies, is yet for an appointed time. Each prophecy has an appointed time to come to pass. But at the end of what? In the end of days, the last days. We're at the end of time. But at the end, it shall speak and not lie. And one of the ways we know we're in the last days is that we see the evolution of the RFID chip when we go back to Revelation 13. That will be one of the last prophecies before the coming of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. It's a promise of the Lord that, his word won't come back unto him void, though it tarry. So it says at the end it will speak, meaning it will come to pass. It would happen. So back in Revelation 13 and verse 15 again, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So all those that won't take it, they're going to be killed. It's going to be a capital offense. Now, I want to touch on that because through the precepts, we get more understanding and it's clear. But I want to show a little bit more going into that those that won't take won't succumb to the mark and take on the image of the beast, which is those that are going to be branded when that chip is going to be put beneath their skin, in their hand or their head, the scriptures tell us when we keep reading in Revelation 13. But, the penalty is going to be by death. That's the first point. The second point is, those that stand against it, well, that's what they're going to be threatened with. So that shows the believers are going to stand against it. The Most High is going to lift up a standard. Now, let me get to the point here in Daniel, because this is all pushing forth Esau's draconian laws, which means excessively harsh laws. He's going to push that more and more because that's prophecy. But the Most High is going to be with the elect. Now, this is the book of Daniel 8 and verse 24. Here's an example of a precept, right, that would give more clarity what we just read. Daniel 8 and 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. So even in the time we're in now, Esau's power is not going to be able to overcome the Most High's power. It says, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. So this could be applied to Esau here in the last days. And he shall destroy wonderfully and shall prosper in practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So his ultimate goal has always been to destroy the children of Israel. That's the mighty and the holy people. Daniel 8 and 25, and through his policy, so this is deception, it says here in the NLT. It says, and through his policy, that's his laws. Those are his laws. These were going to be the draconian laws. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And this is ultimately, likened unto witchcraft. That's part of his miracles to be read about. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, believing that he's going to actually do this. Right? This is him becoming proud. And by peace shall destroy many. It says he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, which is Yahweh Shai, but he shall be broken without hand. So he ain't going to have no power. So now let's go back to Revelation 13 and 16. Speaking of this, the image of the beast and the mark. Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, meaning everyone. And he calls it all, both small and great. And it doesn't matter what a person's status is on the earth, whether you're a millionaire, a billionaire, whether you work in corporate America, whether you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, whether you work at a restaurant, you're a busboy or waiter, or you wash dishes, or you do hair. It doesn't matter what your status. You play in the NFL and the NBA, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is everyone is going to be, whether you're in jail or not, it doesn't matter. Revelation 13 and 60. So everyone's going to be affected by this. And even the elect is here is going to have to live through this. They're going to have to live through this. Those are going to be beamed up on the chariots. Those are going to be given salvation. Right? They're going to have to live through this. This is going to be part of when the scriptures say in Acts 14 and 22, that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom. The scriptures like this make it clear that no one's going to be exempt from this, because there's men out here that are saying that, well, that there's not certain things, certain parts of the tribulation, certain men of the elect ain't going to have to go through. Now you're going to have elect that's going to be beheaded for the truth, men, women, and children. But by and large, everybody's going to have to go through this. All those is going to be actually given salvation. Revelation 13:16, and he calls it all, both small and great. So no matter what your status is, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to have to take this mark. So, this is going to be pushed to the world, because this is going to be Esau's way of showing through the Genius Act now, in the revolution of that, right? And the evolution, and then the revolution is coming, which is the new system of governance, the beast system, the new system of governance. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So that's where the mark is going to go. So the Most High is making it very clear to us not to take the mark, because he's telling us how it's going to happen for those that have eyes to see. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell. Now, the mark is not limited. The mark of the beast is not limited to just people that buy and sell. That's not the only function of it, right? But this is the major part of it. So you got the financial side. There's a medical, legal, because this is going to be all legalized. It's going to be part of the law. You got to take this. But the believers are not going to do it, because we believe that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to be with us. Revelation 13:17, and that no man might buy or sell, meaning to literally go and be a part of society, to buy goods and services and things that you need, right? That no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark. So you would have to have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So these are those that's going to be branded with that. That would show that that mark, that digital currency, that digital chip, is going to be how they're going to be able to be a part of society. So where does that leave the believers? The believers are left with faith. The believers are left with faith in the word of the Most High. And that's what's keeping the believers now and unto the end. Now, verse 18, it says, here's wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So that's not a literal number. It's going to be 666 on the arms or the back of the neck or the head of people that receive the mark of the beast, right? But we're going to touch on that number too, because you'll see movies or depictions of the number 666, and we're going to touch on even what that means and that symbolism there. So the 666, is not a literal number that's going to be on, as is known, people say the badge of the Antichrist. No, what it is that those that take this mark, this chip, they're going to be the ones that's, that are marked for destruction, ultimately. So let's touch on this 666, because it says, let him that have wisdom, here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666 or 666. So now those that have wisdom, well, when you go through a few precepts, it's a few to go through, but I like to just touch on this in the book of 1 Kings. Because see, this is where all of this is leading. 1 Kings 10. And this is not by coincidence. This is here in the scriptures. And all this is talking about trade and international trade going back to the time of Solomon. So it says, let them have wisdom and understanding, actually decipher what this is. So we see a big part of it. It says it's buying and selling. And that's a major component of it. That's not the only thing, but that's a major component. The most major component to that is that. That's why it's in the scriptures that you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have it. Not that it doesn't have other functions that are going to be a part of that, but the believers, well, they're not going to even be a part of those that would take it to see all the other parts of what it's going to do to be a part of society. That's not hard to understand that, but the believers are not going to take it. It's the point I'm making. 1 Kings 10 and verse 14, it says wealth, splendor, and wisdom. Now, it's dealing with wealth, money. This is dealing with trade. Let's show that. 1 Kings 10 and verse 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. So we're just going through the precepts because it just told us, Revelation 13 and 18, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So let's go back. 1 Kings 10 and verse 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. That's not by accident that this is here in the scriptures. When we go back through the precepts to get the understanding. So this is speaking about money. Verse 15, beside that, he had the merchant men. When that merchant men goes into merchandise. So you have revenue, money. Beside that, he had the merchant men. It says of the traffic, that's trade, of the spice merchants, and of all the kings of Arabia, and of the governors of the country. And it goes on to speak more about trade. This whole chapter is really speaking about that, money and trading and all that. So that's why that's so important when we go back to Revelation 13 and 18. That's why that's so important. That 666, right? Being that symbol, which is the mark, those that take the chip. And I spoke about it. Let me just get it. Now, this is what is going to happen to the believers that stand and don't take the chip, because there is a penalty of death for those that won't take it. But there's also damnation given by the Most High for anyone who does take it. Right? That's going to happen to you. That mark is going to be a definite sign that the Most High is going to destroy you. Now, let's show that. This is Revelation 14 and verse 9. So it says doom. The heading here, doom for worshipers of the beast, those that take the mark. That's the doom, the destruction, the promise of destruction. Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and how would you worship the beast and his image? You take the chip. You take it on his society, his culture. That's this, once again, fourth industrial revolution, this new way of life, right? That means you have sided with Satan, with Esau, Edom, and the spiritual demon Satan, because you don't believe. That's a sign of unbelief. Continuing on, Revelation 14 and 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, anybody take the chip, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. So this is going to be the destruction. You're going to see the destruction of the Most High and be a part of what I call the world's greatest barbecue right here in Babylon the Great, which is the lake of fire. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you're going to be tormented in front of Yahweh and the angels when they arrive to pick up the elect. You're going to be left to burn. Your spirit going to be burning in that fire. That's what the Most High is telling, right, the non-believers. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, meaning your spirit going to be burning in that fire. Who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receiveth the mark of his name. So those that receive the mark are going to be tormented. Right? That shows that they weren't of the elect. So that's a sign. That mark is also a sign of unbelief. Verse 12, here's the patience of the saints. The believers are the saints who are going to stand against this and patiently wait for our salvation through Yahweh. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahweh. So we have to have patience and faith to make it out of here. We have to have patience and faith. Patience in the Lord, in his word, and faith unto the end. That's the only thing that's going to keep us in these last days. Isaiah 33 and 6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. That's what's going to stabilize us. It stabilize our minds, first and foremost. Just talking to a brother a little bit ago about that, right? 1 Peter 4 and verse 1, for as much then as Hamashiach, or the anointed, have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind, have the same mind as the anointed, Yahweh. For he that have suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin. So ultimately, we have to suffer in the flesh because we've done great evils in the sight of the Most High. but the reward is on the other side, which is forever. So the saints are patiently waiting for the coming of Yahushua and keeping the faith and keeping the commandments to the best of their ability, while the majority of people on the earth are doing everything that's opposite of that. So that should show you who is actually the believers and who are truly not the believers through the spirit of the Most High God, Yahweh, and his son, Yahushua. I want to give all praises, infinite honor, and glory to the God of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Brakakwadah. All praises be to the Most High God, Yahweh, and his son, whose name is Yahushua. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel, who doing his work in truth and in sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Barakim La, Habayath, Madawadah. Blessings to the house of David, which you brothers laboring in truth and in sincerity. And to the Akim wa Akwath, brothers and sisters that also listen and believe on the glorious gospel being preached throughout the four corners of the earth. Unto you I say Shalom, Shalom, and Barakatham.